On the conflicts in Yemen and Iraq, I was joined earlier by Michael O'Hanlon from the Brookings Institute. He's a director of foreign policy research with a focus on security and intelligence. And I asked him whether the U.S. should leave it up to Iraq to handle its own fight with ISIL.
Well, I'm afraid the United States has been trying a relatively hands-off approach, especially in Syria, but even in Iraq from 2012 through the middle point of 2014, and that didn't seem to work so well either. So I'm not so sure we can sort it out or let it sort itself out. Both approaches seem to fail. If we try to go in with a huge force and control things directly, that doesn't produce very positive results. On the other hand, if we let things burn out on their own, that doesn't seem to lead to any near-term resolution. Meanwhile, there's the risk of spreading. There's the risk of oil markets being disrupted, key allies like Israel and Jordan being threatened, and even potential attacks against Western interests or even Western homelands. So I'm afraid we have to be a little bit more clever than to either say it's so important that we're all in, or on the other hand, it's so unimportant that we can just let it sort itself out, to use your expression. And I think what you've seen the last year or so is the Obama administration taking more seriously the idea that it needs to find a third path, but on balance probably still struggling to find something workable, even in Iraq and certainly in Syria.
Michael, let's turn to what's happening in Yemen. Peace talks are currently underway in Geneva. Are you optimistic that anything can come out of it?
I don't expect that talks will go very well in Yemen, because I think all the different parties involved here are still aspiring to greater gains than they're likely to actually be able to make, but they haven't figured that out yet. So they're still hoping for more than is realistic, and the way they're going to have to learn is the hard way, on the battlefield. They're going to have to ultimately see that they can't take back the whole country, none of them. And once you get to that realization, perhaps you can start to have some kind of a coalition government or autonomy for different regions, or even a splitting of Yemen back into two pieces. I don't rule any possibility out. But I think even a split requires some consensus among the major parties that that's desirable and the best they can perhaps hope for. And I don't get the impression that the main combatants in Yemen are near that realization yet. I think they still overestimate their own ability to win, and therefore will continue to try to win on the battlefield.